So we talk about black box analysis as one statistical approach for understanding what's going on, and this is what most people in the industry are talking about with some of the newer analytics solutions that are available there. The advantage is you don't really need prior knowledge about the environment or the platform. You can say it's platform agnostic. You can feed it some metrics and start running some of these statistical analysis on the records to detect relative changes in the metric according to the baseline. But it's important also to point out that this approach, while quick to implement, doesn't really provide true intelligence about root causes or give you predictions. It's mostly about symptoms of problems, not root causes, and doesn't tell you why it's happening. It can tell you that something has changed, which is important to be able to find out about that as soon as possible. So we also talk about white box analysis, and we've been working in this particular area for well over a decade now. And this gives you visibility and understanding of what's going on in the infrastructure itself built into the analysis. We call this availability intelligence because it's deriving intelligence out of the data for the risks to availability from the infrastructure perspective for particular applications that you're running. It requires a knowledge of what the ZOS metrics are and what they mean, and infrastructure expertise to be able to say, is this a good value or a risky value for this part of the infrastructure? It can detect absolute issue violations. So there is an absolute truth about what different components within the infrastructure are capable of handling. There is best practices that represent good and bad. That's why we have all these IBM Red Books, for example. And being able to assess the metrics in this context and score them or rate them for compliance with those best practices and infrastructure capabilities gives you a deeper level of analysis. So this can derive true intelligence that's predictive and prescriptive.
And then the question is, well, when do you want to have the alert? How early do you want to have the alert? Or how early do you want to be notified? Well, typically, like Brent says, if you're using black box methods, you're going to look at metrics that describe maybe a service level or a response time. You're looking for a change that shows that something has gone bad. So typically, you'll be notified after something went bad, when a particular metric was too high or response time was not good enough. So the alerts tend to be reactive. If you look at more at the internals of how things work, and you look at metrics that are an indication of health or potential issues, then you can be more proactive. And that's actually what we've been focusing on over the last 10 years or so, to try and identify and find issues that might impact availability.